So, you know who I am, Christine Walker. That's my website, cshape.com. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about visualization. Since the dawn of civilization, our human ability to visualize has guided cultures, shaped beliefs, and sparked innovations. There's magic in visuals. We begin whole-body learners. The sense of taste, touch, smell, and sound are more powerful than sight to the newborn. We begin to see the world then and know it from the body. Visual thinking is a natural form of expression. We may draw before speaking and certainly before writing. We're eager to express meaning and we're eager to make sense of things. And soon, maybe second, third grade, what do you think? We learn if we're good at art. That's a good tree, the teacher says. Or not so good. We're judged and we judge ourselves. Although I like this tree, it's kind of like a manzanita, it's red, it's losing its leaves. And we unsnap. Our whole brain becomes halved. The left brain rules. We are rewarded for linear, rational thought and behavior. We sit in rows. The spatial and intuitive gets less attention or separate notice. And to be right-brained is the curse and the blessing of special people, like artists and musicians, rather than the accepted norm for thinking. Well, we could blame Gutenberg, but there's quite a few other people that contributed to that technology. Printing technologies gave us the ability to grow literate societies dependent on the written word. And the 3 R's, 1, writing, reading, and arithmetic. The 4th R, art. Music, dance, painting, intuitive arts, folk arts, theater arts became an add-on. After school music lessons, art classes on Saturdays. But art is for life. It's all of life. And the truth is, we draw every day. Now, I'm not talking about drawing so well, pretty pictures. I'm talking about the physical act of making a picture versus just words. And written language began as pictographs. Here's Phoenician for water and for fish. And we add meaning and metaphor through juxtaposition of our ideas. So the truth is, the magic is in us. And the good news is that with colorful computer graphics and mobile devices, interactive drawing tools, whiteboards, and backs of napkins, drawing has found its way back into our common vocabulary, more commonly so anyway. It's not an add-on as much or just a decoration. It's central to our way of life and thinking. Visuals have power, and hand-drawn pictures have a certain magic. Visual tools make it easier to use visual language, make it possible for more people to express themselves with visual language and share it. Visual tools help the brain halves snap together for whole brain thinking, spatial, intuitive, linear, and rational. But I wonder, are the tools enough to make us see more and feel more and imagine more in order to manifest our visions? We need whole body thinking. So here's a little story. I got this from Annie Dillard's An American Childhood. Anyone read that book? It's a great book. So in Annie's grade school teacher, she had a jar on her desk with a cocoon in it. And the class waited in anticipation for the creature to emerge. They didn't know that it was a giant silk moth with a wide wingspan. They didn't know that when a moth emerges from the cocoon, its wings are damp. And as those wings dry, they harden. So this moth crumpled in the jar because its wings were too wide to spread. So the teacher and the children took the moth outside. And many years later, in writing her memoir, Annie remembered watching this moth limp down the sidewalk, knowing that it would be eaten by a bird or a cat or run over by a car. Now, what if we used whole body thinking? What solution might we find visualizing the process of emergence and its aftermath, or in questioning the contents of the cocoon? What if we climbed in the jar, climbed in the cocoon? What if we felt what it would be like and could anticipate? So just take 5 seconds here, 10 seconds to imagine. How might things be different and better for the moth? Can you feel it in your body? So we could get rid of the jar. That's one solution. In another workshop I had, someone said, well, we could make it out of wax and we could melt it. So what we want to look at here is in whole body thinking, it lets us remove barriers to innovation and success. It helps us imagine what might be different than the familiar or the expected. And with visioning that engages the whole body and whole mind, we fly free. Because in fact, we are the best visioning tool there is. There's all kinds of technology, and there will continue to be wonderful technologies. I love my new iPad, for instance. Great drawing tools. But we're it. We are the visioning tool. And our dreams and desires are powerful, whether imagining what could be for ourselves or our organizations. Visioning is a kind of powerful storytelling. After all, it's in the future. So it's all fiction, right? And for the best visioning, as in any good storytelling, we must engage all the senses. Sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, and our sixth sense of intuition, a kind of felt form that's not tangible. And we use all the story elements, the entry points, the story seeds, points of view, character development, sense of place, tension and plot, time and consciousness, love and other emotions, image in the senses, theme and gestalt. This is from a fiction writing course that I developed and I teach. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to readtowritebooks.wordpress.com. I'm not going to go into more details at this point, but visualizing works to get everyone on the same page. And I'm going to run through a few examples where I've used visualization and storytelling processes in meetings and for follow-up deliverables to help businesses and nonprofits. So first of all, keep in mind, draw it when you can, even if you're just doodling in your notes, and use your magic. This first example is from a visioning and strategy session with disparate stakeholders trying to build consensus around the development of a large tract of land into a regional park in Texas. And the group included developers of Woodlands, which is a master plan community, and city, county, and state representatives with various agendas, some antagonistic, environmentalists and community members representing wide-ranging constituencies from dirt bikers to preschool parents. I ask each person to take 5 minutes to use all their senses in remembering a moment in nature from childhood and write about it. And this gentleman remembered cooking hot dogs in a weedy city lot, but feeling the solitude of green space all around him. And he was in the middle of New York City as a child. So their stories literally got everyone on the same page with a huge mural to set a cooperative tone and content for exploring possibilities. There were tree houses and puppet shows and unstructured play and teepee camping and climbing and all kinds of things. And over 2 work days, we asked more questions and created more large visuals of what people want and what we know and how to move vision to reality. And then as a follow-up report, I designed and wrote a 20-page booklet and had the pull-out visuals that were captured in JPEGs and narratives of the sessions for the project's history and for next steps, and to work with the various constituent groups. And after several years, 1,850 acres of parkland with abundant, diverse amenities have been developed for the residents of the Woodlands and Creekside Village and for public use. For an innovative new community development bank, which was originally called One California, the triple bottom line and a vision for a new type of banking, now called beneficial banking, I use visuals in a variety of storytelling and visual approaches in stakeholder meetings and focus groups over several months to elicit metaphor and content for strategic planning before the bank's opening, and also to design the branding and the communications for the bank's launch. And then in subsequent strategic meetings, I created large visuals in real time with stakeholders and translated them into smaller graphics that could be used in reports and planning websites. And then again for rebranding, when the bank merged with a bank in Oregon and Washington, Shore Bank Pacific, I used visual thinking processes in sessions with the marketing directors to marry the two brands and retain the brand equity from both organizations. Now, visual facilitation has powerful use within organizations for leadership development and team building. In this example, I worked with a facilitator guiding a 2-day offsite that elicited deep personal work from a small leadership team as part of a culture shift across a huge technology enterprise. The visuals captured the process and served as touchstones for actionable changes, personally among the team and strategically across the organization. So again, draw it, use your magic. Drawing gives a personal touch to meetings. Paper murals with marker and chalk can be translated into JPEGs for a variety of uses and also posted in offices, or reprinted and mounted for permanent display. Visual storytelling is a great strategic tool for capturing where we've been and seeing where we'd like to go, and sharing that with others. For a team presentation, I made preliminary murals in an input session, and then in my studio I created a final detailed mural, which is about 10 feet long, for the team to use as a backdrop when presenting their journey in an awards ceremony, which was also a way of messaging to the larger organization what they had done and how they had done it so well. And their mural has some hiking and camping metaphors, and so when they presented, they had backpacks and water bottles and hiking sticks, and they just had fun with it. They really had a good time with it. And their specific directive from their boss was, don't do PowerPoint. There are many ways to take initial visual input and refine it for presentation. So in this example, for a corporate culture shift, I did take input on site with a small leadership team, very sketchy. And then I evolved the art and the narrative for a very complex, I might add, Prezi, and also printed posters to message a culture shift across a large enterprise and to their audiences. Done. So draw it, I would say, it's about good art. It's not about good art or bad, it's about your magic. And that's me. Contact me. Thank you.